I started out when I left school as a police officer, believe it or not, and I served in the police force for 14 years plus. But I was injured on duty and had to leave, and that hadn't been the plan. So I was stuck as to what I wanted to do. So I went back to college and did some studying around computers, project management, database design and development and all of that sort of thing, and ended up accidentally falling into the healthcare sector through my sister-in-law and her business. Stayed in the healthcare sector for a little while. She sold the business to a big corporate, which I'm unemployable now, and I think a lot of people say that they've been self-employed for a while because I am unemployable now. So the big corporate world wasn't for me, and I think I lasted 6 months. And then it was me out of the door. But what I did then, the guys that had developed the management system for the healthcare sector that I was in asked me, because I knew healthcare and how to design and build the systems, I was a great linkage for them, going out and doing the introductions, the demos, and teaching new companies that came on board how to use the system. So I did that for a few years. Whilst I was doing that, I'd always wanted to start my own business. And my husband, Tony, was still in the police force. He recently retired after doing 30 years in the police force. But we'd always wanted a business that we could work on together, because despite Tony retiring from the police force, we still consider ourselves to be quite young, and we didn't want to retire from life, so we wanted something that we could do. And originally in 2005, we invested in property ourselves. There were no courses around that we knew of back then, that we were aware of, and the idea that we had was fantastic, was to invest in buy-to-let property to gain extra income for ourselves, and we purchased 2 properties. But we made every rookie mistake you could think of that was ever been written about. We bought it off plan, brand spanking new, from a local builder. And it was 2005. And by the time it was built, it was 2006, and then we hit the crash 2007, 2008. So whilst we managed to rent out the 3-bedroom apartment, we had to move into the 4-bedroom townhouse. We had to live there 11 years, and after 11 years had passed, we still only made £85,000 profit on the property. So you can tell how much we paid for it in relation to how steep the drop was where we lived. So that was quite a painful experience for us. So we didn't really want to invest in property again, but we really wanted to start a business. So I was chatting to a guy that was in the property sector, and he said to me, okay, you don't want to invest in property yourself, Tina, how about deal packaging? And my comment was, what is that? And he said, go and research it. And that was where I started in January 2012. And I went off and I researched, and because of my police background, I researched the legislation and the regulation and the legalities around running a deal packaging sourcing business. And for the first 10 months, I networked to build up a network of investors and built the compliance into the business. And that was 7.5 years ago, and we are still running our sourcing business now. What I realized very early on was the fact that no one really talked about the compliance side around deal packaging and compliance. No one really talked about it or mentioned that it was like a dark little secret in the back corner. And I didn't like that idea, so I decided to do something about it. So I wrote a book called Property Sourcing Compliance, Keeping You on the Right Side of the Law. And that was my end goal. That was the book. I wanted to tell everybody about compliance, and I thought that was it. But then someone said to me, Tina, you need to go out and you need to tell people about it. You need to speak to people. Because I was then getting investors coming to me and talking to me about how they had lost a lot of cash from using sourcing agents, from deals that didn't match the criteria that they'd set, or they had handed over a deposit or a reservation fee that they then couldn't get back. So I thought, well, maybe, just maybe, I need to go out on the presentation circuit and start to educate both sourcers as to what they should be doing and investors as to what they should be looking for a compliant sourcer.